that one really, really hurt. I don't know about you, but I've been pretty numb to the results of this club over the last 2 seasons, mainly because we've been so bad that it kind of takes that pain away, doesn't it? When you just know it's coming, you just expect it to come. But that one has been the worst one for a while in terms of pain as the final whistle went. And it's going to take a while to get over that. I'm not going to lie to you. Chelsea 3, West Ham 2. Do I really want to relive it? Probably not, but it's probably good to get a few thoughts off my chest, so bear with me while I talk about the game, talk about a few bits that I thought and the things I'm going to take from that game, that 90 minutes, because there was plenty of moments to talk about. So let's go through a few of them, but a wise man once said, "It's the hope that kills you." And I think that's just absolutely spot on, because had we gone into that game and just been pretty rubbish and lost 1 or 2-0, I'd have been annoyed, I'd have been hurt, but it would have been nowhere near the same amount of pain that I was in last night after that game. I struggled to shake it off, which I've got better at as I've got older, just shaking off bad results over a weekend. But that one was difficult to do. But let's talk about the positives first, because there were plenty. I think it's important to remember, and it's difficult to remember at this stage, but there were plenty of positives. The starting 11 was right. I say right. The only thing I wouldn't have brought Juve in for Scholes. I think Scholes is a bit better defensively, and maybe doesn't offer the same as Juve going forward. But as we focus so much down that right hand side, Juve was not in the game in terms of an attacking threat. So I don't think would have missed that if Scholes had been in there. I think he gives just a level of a bit more defensive solidity at that left back position. But other than that, it was right. I was glad he went with a 4-4-2, the two up top. I was worried he'd bring in an extra midfielder or an extra defender, but he didn't, Nuno. So obviously I'll come on to Nuno in a bit. But in terms of starting 11, pretty happy with that. Played the same system. And again, I'll come on to Nuno in a bit, but ironically, two up top makes us more solid. It makes us harder to create chances at, because teams can't just walk the ball up to the halfway line and then just start passing and then start creating chances. You saw that Badashile and I forget who the other centre-half was, were trying to get the ball in. I think it was Chalobah. We're trying to get the ball into Caicedo and Enzo and get them on the half turn, but it was proving difficult because of those two strikers. And I think that's been such a big thing over the last few weeks and made us more solid. It's ironic, you think going up two up top makes us better going forward, and it does, but it's actually made us more solid as well. So I was glad he stuck with that, and I think we just looked so confident in that first half. We looked like we had energy, we looked like a really good counter-attacking team, pretty solid at the back, and then winning the ball quite high up, particularly Pablo. I think he set the tone early on. He nicked the ball off someone and we had a shot or something from it. And it was like, okay, this, we're going to try and win the ball up as high up the pitch as we can. And we looked confident, and we looked like we had energy, and we had a bit about us, and we had quality about us in our play. There was a level of intent. Gary Neville on commentary kept saying that the difference in the two teams in terms of intent, Chelsea are so, like half-arsed almost, like they just don't seem like they've woken up yet, and we were just playing it with purpose, getting the ball forward and getting the ball into dangerous positions, particularly down the right-hand side where Wan-Bissaka and Bowen were outstanding. And individuals, it was a massive difference. You look at Garnacho, who looked like a competition winner, versus Somerville, who looked like prime Thierry Henry. It was just unbelievable, like the difference in the individual performances from both teams. And it's always, when you see a game like that, particularly against a big team, there's always that question of, are we playing that well, or are Chelsea playing that bad? And there's always going to be a percentage of both. But I do think how we were playing was restricting Chelsea, and I just don't think they expected it. Obviously, the manager, Rosina, rang the changes, had a big game in Naples in the week, and I think he thought this sort of challenge wouldn't be there for them. But we really surprised them in how we were playing. Like I say, the way we won the ball won the ball high up the pitch was causing them so many issues. Fernandes again was outstanding. The left-footed pass for the second goal was just brilliant. The second goal in general was just a proper football goal, just proper Premier League 4-4-2. Like, get the ball from midfield, get it out to the winger, underlap from Aaron Wan-Bissaka, cuts it back, Somerville comes onto it, and that is a difficult finish as well, by the way, and that he just smashed it home. Proper football goal. Good to see us playing football like that. And yeah, individually, there were some really outstanding performances. I touched on Somerville, touched on Fernandes. Bowen was again brilliant. He's really, from an attacking sense, starting to come to the fore again, which is good to see. And yeah, and I thought the two centre-halves looked solid, and we just looked in control of the game. But and I'm going to come on to the negatives now, and there was one negative I went to at half-time. It was Chelsea were on the ropes. I think Gary Neville said it on commentary. They were on the ropes, particularly in the final few minutes of that half. And I just feel like that third goal was there for us. It was there for us just to kill the game, because I think it's a completely different game at 3-0. And I think it was there for us. And one thing we don't have in this team is, sort of game management. The dark arts, just sniffing a game, smelling a game, knowing what's going to happen. And I feel like if we had that, we'd have sniffed that there was a third goal in it for us. There was a chance for Wan-Bissaka. You can't even really call it a chance because he didn't even shoot. He tried to cut it back. If you'd have just drilled that goal, it could have gone anywhere. I think Tati had another chance. And you just think, if that third goal goes in, it is a completely different game. And that was the only negative I went in at half-time. Other than that, unbelievable first-half performance. And then, the second half starts. And even though Chelsea made the changes, you actually feel like it started similar. For the first 5 minutes of the second half, we started as we mean to go on, and as we finished the first half, and created a few more chances. Bowen had one off of a clever little free kick from Fernandes, it looked like, okay, this could continue. But then it changed. It changed. The momentum shifted, and there is going to be a lot of criticism on Nuno after this, and rightly so. And I'll come on to Nuno, but I do think the players have to take a section of the blame. They delivered a brilliant first half performance, and I wouldn't take that away from them, but the momentum shifted before the substitution. The substitution was at 2-1 when Chelsea had obviously scored and were on top. So there was something in it that changed. Now, you can't go to Stamford Bridge and expect us to dominate the game like we did for the whole 90 minutes. There is going to be a shift there. And you could argue, what did Nuno say at half-time? He probably didn't say the right thing. But there was just a few moments, like the 51st minute, and we just started to lose the personal battles, which we'd done so well in the first half. We won pretty much all of them. It's just started to lose a couple of them. And I just felt like that we just needed to sniff that out again, that sort of game management. We were playing at the same pace. Now, I'm not saying you shut up shop and try and defend, because that is the opposite of what we want to do. But you understand that momentum is shifted. Before the first goal goes in, they won a couple of duels. I think they had a Delap chance. The sort of ball goes across the box and he just gets a touch on it. He just dribbles past the post. That moment, players have to go, okay, the momentum has shifted. Chelsea fans are now no longer on their backs, but they're with them. The referee is giving a few free kicks their way. He's sort of being swayed by the crowd. Let's just slow this down. I think we won a free kick. And Fernandes, like I say, for the Bowen chance, which I think he was offside anyway, but he tries to take a quick free kick again, and we just lose the ball. And that, again, is just lack of experience, a little bit of naivety, just not sniffing the game and thinking, let's just calm it down. Let's get their crowd starting getting tetchy again. Let's get the crowd on the referee's back again. Let's get the crowd on their own players' back. And I just feel like we didn't do that. There was none of the dark arts, just slowing the game down, taking ages for a throw in, things like that, frustrating them, winning stupid fouls. We see it at the London Stadium all the time, don't we? Where we're chasing a game and teams are just so frustrating against us. Why can't we be like that? And again, it's not going defensive. I still wanted us to go forward and try and get the third goal, but it just in that 5-10 minute spell from the 51st minute, just slow it down, just slow everything down, and just see through that next 5-10 minutes. Let the momentum die down a bit, and then go for the third, which would have been the killer at that stage. Also, we started allowing crosses in the box, and again, that's from a player's perspective as well. That's not just Nuno. The players weren't in the first half. We were swarming around them, and then the start of the second half, or the 51st minute onwards, we just let players come forward into our own half, and the first goal was exactly that. Fofana just just starts coming into our half. Now in the first half, it was almost like Tati and Pablo were like asymmetrical, and they let Badiashile, I think it was, have possession, and it might have been a tactical discussion before the game. That almost like changed, and we let Fofana have the ball, who is better on the ball and sort of stepping into the other team's half. And that's obviously where the goal comes from. Now, we couldn't have imagined that he would put the level of cross that he did into the box, and it was a fantastic ball. Again, Mavropanos, small mistake, but he just steps forward. If you watch back, he just steps forward, and that all of a sudden, that means he can't get back, and Pedro's behind him. And it's a good header from João Pedro, to be fair. He is a good player. I know he shat himself a little bit when Traoré and Todibo went after him, but he is a good Premier League player, annoyingly, and he heads it in well. And all of a sudden, that's it. Once the first goal goes in, you know the momentum has fully changed. And yeah, that's it. Now you are going to be backs against the wall. So there's a bit of a lack of experience and leadership, which we've said all season. We said all last season. Lack of the dark arts. And that cost us. But yeah, just that sniffing the game. And that comes to the manager as well. Now on to Nuno, because he has to take, I'd say, the main portion of the blame. There's no doubt about it. He has to. I would hope he would look himself in the mirror and do that, because, yeah, good managers interfere when the game is going against them. Not just in the score line on the scoreboard, but the way the game's going, the momentum. And that is so important in football. And you have to interfere in the game when you see that happening. You have to smell that a goal is coming from the opposition unless you do something. And he didn't. He let that first goal go in, and then he makes a change, and then it's the wrong change. So it's like he's really compounded the mistake. Rosinha made the changes, obviously, at half-time. Now, we were 2-0 up, and he was 2-0 down, so you can say, well, he was always going to make those. I think if we'd have played the same game, but let's say we didn't score the 2 goals, and it went in at 0-0, but the same level of performance, we were the better team, and we were unlucky to go in at 0-0, I think Rosinha still makes those changes. Now, obviously, he's still very young in his managerial career, and we can't really analyse if he's a good manager or not. But I think he makes those changes regardless of the scoreline. He would have just seen the way the game had gone. Nuno doesn't do that, and that's what really cost us, because once that first goal goes in, as I say, all of a sudden you're up against it. You know the fans are getting involved. You know the players are, they've got the towels up. They're feeling it, and we just then couldn't get back in the game. And with the Kilman change, and again, a lot of criticism is going to go on to Kilman, and rightly so. You're a £40 million professional footballer. You need to perform better. It's as simple as that. But Nuno is actually killing Kilman. He's not doing him any favours at all. Kilman had no business coming on in that game. The pressure was there. It had already gone to 2-1. We needed to alleviate the pressure going the other way. Bringing on Kilman, I mean, the amount of signals it sends to your own players that, we're setting up shop now, we want 2-1, we're not going up for a third goal. It says that to the Chelsea players, so they're centre-backs, just move forward, because we're taking one of the forwards off, so it's easier for you to get the ball from the keeper and walk into our half. Everything gets easier for you now as a Chelsea centre-back once that substitution's been made. And Kilman's not playing well. If Kilman was Craig Dawson, I could somewhat understand it, but he's not. He's playing really, really poorly. He's got no confidence, and I feel for him, because he can't have wanted to go into that scenario. And it's not his fault he's a £40 million player either. Like, he didn't decide the price tag. It's not his fault. That Wally Lopetegui went, he's my centre back, and let's spend whatever to get him in. So I feel for him in a sense, but again, he does need to perform better. But even yesterday, he heads the ball onto the bar. He does well for that second goal. It nearly, almost like a heroic clearance. Obviously, Cucurella's quicker to react, quicker than Todibo, I might add, and scores the goal. And that's obviously, once it's 2-2, then it was only going to ever go one way. But back to Nuno, he's really killing Kilman, and he just keeps making the wrong substitutions. I felt like if you're going to bring Pablo off, it was tiring. Let's be clear, he was massively tiring. But that's fine. You're going to bring him off. Why not bring Magata or Potts on and move Fernandes forward into the sort of same 4-4-1-1, but have Fernandes playing off of Tati, or Fernandes to the left, which I don't like him in that position, and then Somerville move closer forward to Tati, and then sort of dovetail in to create problems, or even bring Adama on at that stage. And not that he did anything when he did come on, but then maybe put Adama on the right and then move Bowen into the middle. There's lots of options there to rest Pablo, and give Pablo a rest because he was blowing out his arse. He was done, but not just completely submit and just change our approach to the game and just basically say, yeah, we're just going to try and hold on and hope to God you don't score. And the other thing is, if you are going to be a low block team, if you're going to be a team that invites pressure on, like a substitution like bringing Kilman on for a centre forward does do, that invites pressure, you have to be able to defend your box. You have to be able to defend crosses. We cannot defend crosses. We've seen that from set pieces. We've seen it from open play. We cannot defend crosses. So why, as a manager, are you continuously inviting pressure onto our back four or back five? It doesn't make sense. Surely, as a Premier League level manager like Nuno is, you look at it and go, you're inviting pressure. What are you doing? Like, we're going to concede. And I feel like after that 2-1, it was just so obvious that we were going to concede again. It was just the writing on the wall. So I just think he made a real ricket there, and I feel like there were other changes he could have made. And just a change of approach, really, and just said to the players, once that 2-1 goal went in, okay, we need a third. You know, even at half-time, do you expect Chelsea to come out and play the same way as they did the first half? Do you expect to go 90 minutes without conceding at Stamford Bridge against this Chelsea team when we haven't kept a clean sheet under your management? Under your management, full stop. The last time we get a clean sheet was against you. That's what I would have said to Nuno. Do you expect we're going to go this the whole second half and not concede a goal? So you must know that at some point we're going to need that third. So why bring both your forwards off? Like, why do that and not replace them with two forwards, or at least another attack-minded change? It just it really baffles me. We're clearly not good enough defensively to hold on to leads. We have to fight fire with fire. We have to attack. We have to continuously launch attacks. And when you launch counter-attacks, it's not just from an attacking perspective that you might go and score the third goal. But it makes Chelsea doubt themselves because they're thinking, okay, we can't be as gung-ho as we maybe want to be because they can go the other way. They're stretching our back line. That causes them problems and makes them not step forward, like I said before. When you just basically wave the white flag and say, yeah, come on onto us, they just go, all right then, we'll just step up to the halfway line and we'll just pin you in. And we just looked so isolated. We looked like we couldn't launch attacks. And then as for Adama Traore, he just looks top heavy for me. Just looks too top heavy. It doesn't look like he can really. I mean, he's never been agile in the fact that he can go one way or the other. He's obviously, when he's going in one direction, he's hard to stop because he is quick when he gets going. But he looks like he's a bit too top heavy now. And I don't know if at his age, there must have been a reason Fulham didn't use him at least off the bench regularly. And even if they did, he wasn't making an impact. So there's a reason they've just sort of let him go to us and go, yeah, fine, you have him. Do you know what I mean? I really think Nuno's got that one wrong. I also think we need another striker now. If we're going to play two up top, which we have to do, it's the only system that has half worked this season. And we look really good in that first 45 minutes, as we did Tottenham, as we did Sunderland. So you're going to have to stick with it. It's the right formation. Stick with it for a full 90 minutes would be nice. And you need another centre forward. You need at least another centre forward, so you've got Wilson and another one to come on. Preferably someone with pace that can continue running like Pablo and Tati do. So again, and that's another big thing for the rest of the transfer window. We need another forward. And obviously now we need another centre half, we did anyway. But Todibo getting sent off for 3 games, which, yeah, I mean, Traore is not done anything apart from start that melee. Todibo gets involved. It's just a mess. It's just frustrations boiling over. You can understand it, but it's not ideal. It's not ideal from Todibo's point of view. He needs to be more experienced than that. He's played a decent amount of top flight games now. He needs to keep his head. He had gone. His eyes were gone. Like, his head was gone. And it was a real worry. So without him now for 3 games, and we're going to have to see what we can do in the transfer market in the next, I think it's deadline day tomorrow, isn't it? Hopefully we bring someone in of decent quality that can slot in next to Mavropanos, so we don't have to start Kilman, because that's just going to go from bad to worse in terms of his confidence, Kilman. So yeah, it's a painful one, that. It was a really, really disappointing evening. Let me know what your thoughts are on it, and I'll catch you on the next one.